The sky over Silver Creek was a deep shade of gray, gathering clouds like an oil spill on a canvas, testament to another dreary autumn day. I stood on the edge of the old park, the once vibrant colors of the trees dulled, their leaves spiraling slowly to the ground. A gust of wind whipped through, teasing the loose strands of my dark hair away from my face. I brushed them aside, my heart thumping heavily in my chest, a drum roll announcing the theatrics of tension brewing inside me. "You ready for this?" I muttered, more to steal my shaken confidence than to seek an answer. My reflection in a puddle mirrored my apprehension, wide brown eyes framing a face painted with determination. It felt surreal standing here, the scent of damp earth mixing with a faint trace of impending rain, but I was anchored, focused. "Hey, Elena, you coming or what?" The shout pulled me from my thoughts, and I glanced back to see Jake, leaning against his bike, a sly grin spreading across his face. We had always been terrible at hiding our intentions, and today was no exception. We both knew what was at stake, the secrets, the truths we had buried deep. "You know we don't have all day," he added, pointing to the thickening clouds. I could hear the impatience in his voice, but beneath it, his tone dripped with understanding. He actually believed in this reckless plan. "I am coming." I forced my feet to move, reluctant as they were. Just checking my battle face in the reflection. It's not every day we do something this outrageous. I caught his eye, half smirking, hoping the banter would ease my nerves. I joined him, my heart racing faster now, typing in every moment with the vivid realization that this was our chance, a chance to take back what had been taken from me from us. "Remember the plan?" Jake said, his smile turning serious. "We keep it tight, we keep it smart. No crazy stuff, all right? We can't get caught." His blue eyes flickered with the energy of 1,000 schemes, but I felt a jab of self-doubt. Would I be able to control myself today? After all, silence had been my ally, but today I was ready to shatter that peace. I know, I am ready." I hesitated, glancing down at the thick layer of leaves beneath my feet, their crunch echoing like whispered secrets. "We just have to get close enough to see her." The thought of facing Ava sent waves of anger washing through me, a distant figure in my memory, the queen bee whose ruling reign had turned my life into a series of crushing betrayals. "Do you remember the last time?" Jake asked gently, as we began walking toward the old carousel, its chipped paint a haunting sight among the overgrown grass. Memories of laughter, a time when life had been simple and carefree, had vanished on the tide of time, replaced now with bitterness. I nodded reluctantly, my stomach knotted as I recalled the day Ava had dragged me into the limelight of her deceit. The laughter, the dancing, the betrayal, I could still feel it like a ghost winding its cold fingers around my heart. "I know it was tough then, but we are different now." His voice was steady, hopeful like light breaking through clouds. "We are not going to let her get away with it again. This is our moment, not just to find her, but to reclaim everything she took from us." The fire in his words ignited a flicker of resolve inside me. "That's true," I mused, picturing Ava's face, her smug smile painted like a poison. I could almost hear the echoes of her laughter from our past, ringing hollow now. "She thinks she can just walk all over people like her game pieces." I could not shake the image of the last time I saw her, a night riddled with chaos where she wielded betrayal like a badge. The confrontation had hurt more than I had ever prepared for. "Yeah, and she never learns," Jake replied, clenching his fists at his sides. "It's time we make her see that the board has changed." I could feel the electricity between us, the realization that we were not just kids anymore. We were about to step into a world where games were played with stakes much higher than mere friendships. As we reached the carousel, the creaking of its rusted machinery broke the silence, an echo of forgotten dreams. I climbed up onto one of the faded horses, its paint peeling away like the layers of my old self. I used to love this ride back when life felt pristine and uncomplicated. Now I took a deep breath, feeling the chill settle into my bones as the wind cut through the chill in the air. "This is it, Jake. No turning back now." "I wouldn't have it any other way," he replied, raising an eyebrow, the familiar glimmer of mischief creeping back into his eyes. There was a thrill in the air, something almost electric, a need for revenge coursing through my veins. I could feel the pull, the urge to push forward despite the fluttering apprehension in my gut. "Just keep your cool, got it?" Jake grinned as he swung his leg over the adjacent horse, his expression suddenly serious again. "Once we find her, you lead, just don't freak out or anything." "Freak out?" I chuckled nervously. "Hardly. I mean, it's been almost a year. I've had enough time to plan this moment in my head." I could already feel the anxiety bubbling up inside me, a tightness in my throat. I've waited so long for a chance like this. I could see the old amusement fading from his eyes as they turned solemn. Just remember, she didn't just hurt you, she hurt both of us, Alina. You're not alone in this. It was exactly what I needed to hear. I wasn't just fighting my battle. This was a group effort, a tide of revenge we were building together. The air began to thicken with tension as the quiet sounds of the park faded, replaced by the haunting memories that lingered around us. I could almost feel them wrap around my wrists, anchoring me in place. But this doesn't end with just confronting her. I need it all back, the trust, the friendship, the self-respect she stole from me. The gravity of my declaration weighed heavy, but there was no backing down. Then let's take it, Jake said, his fierce determination shining through. Down with the queen bee, right? He flashed a grin that set my heart aflutter, but the serious undertone reminded me we were entering uncharted territory. I wonder what she's doing right now, I thought aloud, my voice wavering. Probably planning her next move while we sit here like the old toys nobody cared about. A sputter of anger sparked, and I resolved that this time would be different. I would not let her toy with me again. Whatever she is doing, she won't foresee us coming, Jake assured, fixing a determined gaze on the path leading out of the park. Just keep your eyes open and trust me. We will nail this. The wind howled again, and with it came the realization that we were closer to the confrontation than ever before. Fear twisted inside me, but alongside it, there pulsed the sweet, intoxicating taste of revenge. A rush of adrenaline surged through my veins as I realized it was not just about facing her. It was about reclaiming myself, reasserting my role in this world of concrete facades and hidden truths. Okay, let's do this, I breathed, heart hammering, hands trembling at the thought of finally taking back what had been stolen from me. Together, we descended from the carousel, our journey just beginning. I couldn't shake the heaviness that hung around my heart like an unwanted shadow as I stepped into the diner. The familiar golden glow from the hanging lights did little to warm the chill that had settled in my bones. The scent of greasy fries and freshly baked pie flooded my senses, but even that could not distract me from the gnawing abyss of anger and betrayal swelling inside my chest. My fingers fiddled with the silver bracelet that graced my wrist, a parting gift from my mother, who had always insisted it brought good luck. But in that moment, luck felt like a distant dream. I approached a booth where a familiar figure was already seated, her blonde hair flowing over her shoulders like sun-kissed silk. Jessica, my sister and my worst enemy. The betrayal I had felt was still fresh, like the sting of a paper cut. "Hey," I said, sliding into the booth across from her. My voice came out cool and collected, though inside I was a cyclone of emotions. "You look nice." She smiled sweetly, but her eyes seemed to hide something darker, something almost predatory. "Thanks, Alina. You too, though I see you're still wearing that old thing." She gestured to my faded band t-shirt, and irritation stung at me hotly. "It's comfortable," I shot back. "Comfortable is code for lazy," she quipped, crossing her arms and leaning back as if this conversation was mere entertainment for her. I huffed, trying to suppress the heat creeping up my neck. "Why did you want to meet?" I demanded, my irritation spilling into my tone. "Can a sister meet with her dear sister just to catch up?" She feigned innocence, but I was not buying it. Not after what she did. "Cut the crap, Jess. You know I'm not here for chit-chat." Her expression flickered for just a moment, an imperceptible crease of annoyance before she masked it with that infuriating smile. "All right, let's get to it then. You are mad at me because I took Grant to the dance instead of you. It was a spur-of-the-moment decision." I clenched my teeth, the taste of bitterness at the back of my throat. "You didn't just take him to the dance, Jessica. You knew I liked him. We had plans." She shrugged, as if what I said meant absolutely nothing. "You should have made your move sooner, Alina. Besides, you always said he was just a stupid little crush." I was being honest. You know I don't do the whole player thing. I thought we were better than that. "That's rich coming from you." Jessica leaned forward, her voice low and mocking. "You always acted like you were the one with the moral high ground." "News flash, sis. The world doesn't revolve around your rules." I felt my heart thunder in my chest, but I refused to let it show. "I thought we were meant to look out for each other. Family, remember." "You want to talk about family? Spare me," she scoffed. "You were always the favorite. The perfect daughter, the perfect student, the perfect sister. Always think you deserve everything just because you have that fancy imagination and a few stupid trophies." I shifted uncomfortably in my seat, her words cutting deeper than I wanted to admit. "You're just angry because you didn't get your way. And you're acting like a childish brat who can't accept that your time has passed. Move on, Alina." "Move on?" I echoed incredulously. "How can I move on when you keep stomping all over my life? You think I won't confront you about this? You think I'll just let it go?" She leaned back even further, dismissive of my anger. "What do you intend to do?" Try to get revenge on your own sister? You think that will make you feel better? My breath quickened. That's exactly what you did to me. Jessica rolled her eyes, a gesture I found utterly infuriating, yet oh so characteristic of her. I didn't do anything. I saw an opportunity and I took it. You should learn from that. My hands balled into fists on the table, the rough grain of the wooden surface scratching at my palms, grounding me as I fought back the wrath surging within me. You think you're so clever, don't you? I bit out, my voice shaking from the effort of reining in my emotions. Maybe you will regret those choices. Regret? I would welcome that, but don't worry, I won't, she said confidently, leaning in with a smirk. Unlike you, I know the game and I play it well. This isn't a game, Jess. I snapped, the words erupting from me before I could stop them. This is life, and you're ruining mine. Life is just one big game. The sooner you learn that, the better off you will be, she said, ice in her tone. But you know what? I can help you. I can show you how to really play. The thought chilled me down to my core. And what's your price? Easy. You have to assist me with my next conquest, she said, grinning like a predator that had just caught wind of its prey. In the meantime, I'll leave you alone. You'll learn all the tricks you need to know to win. My pulse raced. Why would I ever help you? She leaned back, twisting a strand of her hair between her fingers, the very picture of casual confidence. Because, Alina, the sooner you learn how to take control, the sooner you can turn the tables on me. And you want that, don't you? I felt a mix of apprehension and intrigue bubbling in my mind. She was right in one aspect. I didn't want to be a passive victim anymore. Fine, I said slowly, the words slipping from my lips before I could reason with myself. Let's say I agree. What's your master plan? Her grin widened, revealing perfect white teeth that seemed sharper than ever. Oh, you will love this. It all begins with Grant and a little seed of doubt. I can make him question everything. All the while, you will be right there watching. I felt a delightful shiver run through me, a strange blend of excitement and dread swirling together. I should have known better than to trust her. But if I do this, I get a say. This is my plan too. She narrowed her eyes, sizing me up as though I had just entered a complicated chess game. Fine, but you better keep up. If you mess this up, you will regret it. I nodded slowly, the tension of our exchanged words hanging thick in the air. This was one dangerous game we would be playing, but I was beginning to realize that I was not the delicate flower I ascribed to be. Maybe somewhere beneath my own rage, I could harness a new power, a fresh drive to reclaim what was taken from me. But first, I needed to learn how to stand beside my sister, even if it meant walking a perilous line between vengeance and revival. The stakes were higher than ever, and as I looked into Jessica's calculating gaze, I felt exhilarated, like a soldier about to step onto a battlefield. This war was just beginning. The cold air nipped at my skin as I stepped into the dimly lit cafe on the corner of Maple and 8th. I could almost taste the burnt coffee lingering in the air, mixing with the scent of cinnamon from freshly baked pastries. Our little town might be small, but it had its comforting corners, and this cafe was one of them. It felt familiar, steady, the kind of place you could hide away when the world outside felt too chaotic. I found a small table near the back, a perfect spot where I could keep an eye on the entrance while I blended into the shadows. I kicked my feet against the edge of the chair, my heart racing with equal parts excitement and nervousness. Today was the day I would confront Tyler, the person who had crushed my dreams and tainted my relationships. My plan was simple, but my stomach twisted into knots every time I thought of it. I rehearsed the words in my mind like lines from a play, trying to remind myself that I was a different person now, more resilient and driven. The door creaked open, and for a split second I thought I saw him, but it was just Sarah, my best friend, making her way inside. She spotted me almost immediately and waved, her smile lighting up her face. I felt a flicker of warmth, a reminder that I wasn't entirely alone. "Hey, there you are," Sarah exclaimed as she approached, her cheerful voice slicing through my anxious thoughts. "I was starting to think you stood me up." "I almost did," I admitted, forcing a smile. "I was just thinking. Or plotting," she teased, her eyes narrowing playfully. "Maybe both, you know how I can get." I nervously stirred my coffee, watching the cream swirl into the dark depths. "I just want to make sure this goes the right way." "Listen, Alina, whatever you're planning, just remember to keep your cool. You don't want to give him the satisfaction of seeing you riled up," she advised, her face serious now. I know, I sighed, my thoughts drifting back to the last time I had seen Tyler. His cruel smile, the way he had laughed as he walked away, leaving me in a wreck. But he thinks he can walk all over me. I need him to see that I'm not the same girl he knew. Sarah took a sip of her own drink, her gaze steady. "And you've grown, just don't lose sight of that when you confront him." The door swung open again, and my heart leapt into my throat as Tyler strolled inside, hands shoved deep into his pockets, the collar of his jacket turned up against the chilly air. My breath caught as I studied him, his familiar tousled hair, those blue eyes that once held all my hopes and dreams, but I quickly reminded myself of the awful things he had done. I was here to make him pay for all of it. "Stay here," I whispered to Sarah, my voice barely above a breath as I rose from my seat. "Elena, wait," she began, but I brushed her off, my resolve hardening. I had come too far to back down now. I stepped towards him, feeling my heart race a million beats per minute. Every step was heavy with purpose, and I could feel Sarah's worried gaze on my back, but I pressed on. I could do this. "Tyler," I said sharply, my voice stronger than I felt. He turned, surprise flashing across his face before morphing into that same arrogant smirk I despised. "Elena Parker, as I live and breathe, what a surprise to see you here." "I could say the same," I replied, crossing my arms, standing my ground. "But you didn't think I would let you just waltz away after everything you did you?" His smirk faltered just for a moment, but he recovered quickly. "Come on, it was just a little joke. You can't tell me you didn't find it funny at least once." "Funny? You think ruining my life is funny?" I nearly shouted, my pulse racing. Other customers turned to look, but I didn't care. I was done being quiet. "That joke cost me everything, Tyler. I lost friends, opportunities, who I thought I was." His expression shifted slightly, and he raised an eyebrow. "I thought you were tougher than that. Didn't you move along to college? Looks like you turned out just fine." "Fine?" The word tasted bitter on my tongue. "You don't get it. You made me feel small, like I didn't matter. But I'm here to show you that I'm not going to keep letting people like you push me around." "People like me? This is a bit dramatic, don't you think, Elena? I thought we were over this." "Over? You think just because you ignore it, it goes away? You can't just brush me aside because it makes you uncomfortable," I fired back, feelings I had kept bottled up for too long now spilling like a broken dam. "You hurt people to feel powerful, but look at you. You're nothing but a coward hiding behind jokes." "Wow, you're really going for it, huh?" he said, a mix of disbelief and irritation flashing across his face. "You think that's going to scare me?" "Newsflash, I'm doing just fine without you." "Fine? You think I care what you think? I'm not here to convince you of my worth. You need to know there are consequences for your actions." I stepped closer, keeping my voice steady. "What you did to me, what you did to everyone around us has lasting effects." He rolled his eyes dismissively, but I could see a flicker of uncertainty in his stance. "What are you going to do? This is rich coming from you." My heart raced as I gestured toward the cafe door where I knew Sarah was watching, her eyes wide with concern, but I pushed through, determined. "I didn't come here to escalate things either, but I need you to know that I've learned. I've changed. And you can't just walk all over me, over anyone, without facing the fallout." He opened his mouth to speak, but before the words could escape, I cut in again, my voice steady. "I will make sure you see what happens when you hurt people. You think you can mock me and everyone else and get away with it? Watch me. Are you threatening me?" His eyes narrowed, the smirk replaced with annoyance. "No, I'm promising you. You will deal with the consequences of your actions, Tyler." It felt empowering to say those words, to finally stand up for myself. "Right, because you think this makes you powerful? You're just a bitter girl with a chip on her shoulder." His words were sharp, designed to provoke, but I refused to let him see me flinch. "Do you want to find out how bitter I can be? I'm stopping you from hurting anybody else," I said firmly. "And I'll do it again and again if I have to." He laughed, a hollow sound that echoed in the cafe. "This is a real low for you, Elena. You think you can scare me? You're just showing everyone how desperate you really are." I took a deep breath, willing myself to remain calm, but every word out of his mouth ignited a fire inside me. "You think I'm desperate?" "I would rather be desperate than someone cowardly hiding behind their jokes. You don't scare me, and that's the difference." "Whatever," he said finally, starting to turn away. "You think you have it all figured out, but you're playing the game wrong." "Maybe so," I replied, taking a step back, my heart pounding against my ribcage. "But don't worry, Tyler, you'll see. You're not going to win this time." I turned to leave, anticipation coursing through my veins. Behind me, I could hear his voice calling out, laced with mockery. "Good luck with that, you'll need it." As I stepped back into the cool air of the outside world, I felt less like a victim and more like a warrior. Each word had been a small victory, a sign to myself that I was moving forward. I found Sarah waiting just outside, concern writ large on her face. "What happened?" she questioned, his panic evident. "You were gone a while." I just gave her a small smile, turning my gaze back toward the cafe. The battle has only just begun. I stood in the shadowy corner of the Silver Creek High Gym, the echo of cheers and claps filling the air, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside me. The gym was packed with students, their excitement palpable as they anticipated the showdown between the two rival teams. My eyes, however, were not on the game. They were fixed on the lone figure standing at the edge of the crowd, laughing loudly, carefree, basking in the attention he so craved. Kyle Adams. The very name was like a bitter pill lodged in my throat. The anger I had felt for months surged again as I thought back to his betrayal. He had paraded around like a hero, claiming he was my friend while all along he had been whispering lies about me, ruining my reputation in our small town. I could still remember how I felt when I had first learned the truth, like the ground had opened up beneath me, swallowing my footing, leaving me grasping desperately for stability. Now he was here, flaunting his popularity. I could almost taste the bitterness as I watched him, every laugh, every cheer only sharpening my resolve. "Are you sure you want to do this?" A voice interrupted my thoughts. Nancy stood beside me, concern etched across her face. She had been my confidant through this entire ordeal, the one person who understood the weight of my anger. "I mean, what if it backfires?" I turned to her, fixing my gaze firmly on Kyle, even as he basked in the glow of his crowd. "What is the point of being good? Good does not change anything. I need him to know that I won't let him get away with this," I replied, my voice low yet steady. "It just feels extreme," she frowned, her brow knitting together slightly. "I don't want you to hurt yourself." Hurt myself? I felt the fire rising in my chest, mixing with the hot rush of adrenaline. "He's the one who hurt me, Nancy. I was his best friend, and he threw me to the wolves without a second thought." "That deserves retribution," Nancy sighed, her features softening as her shoulders drooped slightly. "I get it, really. But what if this really isn't you? What if it changes who you are?" I could feel the change inside of me rolling like tidal waves, but it didn't frighten me. I had spent too much time wallowing in sorrow, too long letting Kyle's actions define my worth. I was done being sad, done being that girl who blended into the background when all I wanted was to scream my truth to the heavens. "Being the girl who sits back and does nothing isn't me either," I said firmly, reaching for a sense of certainty. Taking a deep breath, I glanced around, seeking any inspiration in the chaos. Then I spotted her, their captain, Jenna Simmons, who had once been part of our friend group until Kyle had poisoned our friendship with lies. Jenna was the epitome of everything I had lost: confidence, popularity, respect. I had watched her rise even as I had been pushed down, and a plan began to form in my mind. I turned to Nancy once more. "I am going to make sure everyone hears Kyle's story. He thinks he is untouchable, that he can just stomp on people and walk away. But everyone will know he is nothing but a coward hiding behind a mask. And Garrett, well, he needs to see who Kyle truly is." "Garrett?" Nancy's voice rose several pitches. "Do you think that is a good idea? I know you like him." My heart thudded painfully in my chest at the mention of Garrett's name. Yes, I liked him. But he liked Jenna now, and that stung as deeply as any betrayal Kyle had delivered. If I push this through, we will see who stands by me when the storm hits. If Garrett is truly worth it, he'll see I'm better than what Kyle has painted me to be. The whistle blew sharply, cutting through the chatter and laughter, redirecting everyone's focus toward the court. Suddenly, the air felt charged with energy, with urgency, as all eyes were drawn to the players warming up. "I'll be back," I said to Nancy, steeling myself as I took a step into the fray. Jenna was laughing with Kyle, who leaned against the wall, still brimming with overconfidence. I marched right up to her, catching her off guard. "Jenna, we need to talk." She turned, surprise flickering across her face before it settled back into the practiced mask of indifference. "Elena, what do you want?" "We're kind of busy here." Each word felt like a tug on the rage simmering under my skin. "You say you're busy, but I think you've had enough fun at my expense. Kyle has lied to you, and you deserve to know the truth." "Oh please, you think you can just waltz up here and tell me about truth?" Jenna crossed her arms defiantly, her ornate nails tapping against her skin. "You're the one who should be ashamed. How many people have you heard talk about you behind your back? You've become the school joke." It struck like a dagger, deep and unforgiving. I almost faltered, almost let her words take me down that path of despair again. But something egged me on, the fire that had sprung to life in my chest refusing to flicker out. "You think Kyle is the one that gives you power? You're wrong. He's using you just like he used me." The moment hung silently between us, tension electrifying the air. Jenna opened her mouth to retort, but I pressed forward, fueled by my determination. "Have you ever noticed how he always plays the victim? How he twists your words to make himself the hero? You need to wake up." At that moment, Kyle pushed off the wall, stepping into the space between us. "What is this? Another pathetic attempt by you to regain some self-respect, Elena?" His smirk was infuriating, but I stood my ground. "I am done being a victim," I declared fiercely. The only pathetic thing is you, Kyle. I have friends who will stand by me no matter what you say. I'm not going to be silent or ashamed anymore. Everyone deserves to know how big of a liar you are. The laughter died down as players began to focus, and a few curious onlookers leaned in to catch the drama unraveling. Jenna's expression shifted from amusement to uncertainty, caught in the tug-of-war between her past loyalty to Kyle and my unwavering courage. "This is embarrassing," she muttered, glancing first at Kyle, then back at me. "You're making a fool out of yourself." I stepped closer, lowering my voice to ensure it only reached her ears. "It will be embarrassing for you when the truth comes out, Jenna, and I promise you it will come out." The gravitas of my words hung in the air, and I could see a flicker of doubt creep into her eyes. Her instinctive defense kicked in then. "Why would I believe you? You're just some bitter girl who couldn't handle it when everyone moved on." Kyle nodded, a patronizing gleam in his eyes. "Right. Why would anyone care about your history of lies, Alina? You're merely a blip on our radar." "Is that why nobody cares when I walk into a room?" I shot back, my heart pounding. "Is that why everyone will soon hear about how you betrayed me, how you manipulated our friendship until there was nothing left? You say I am a joke, but let's see who gets laughed at when the truth shatters that facade you've built." The crowd had quieted, the air thick with anticipation. I could feel the power shifting, the momentum leaning in my favor as murmurs began to ripple through the gathering. "What is she talking about?" one girl gasped. "Didn't Kyle used to be her friend?" Another questioned. In that moment, I saw the tide of perception begin to turn. Jenna's mask was fracturing, disbelief swimming in her gaze. The spotlight was no longer just on me, it was on all of us. Kyle's face twisted in alarm, the facade of control suddenly slipping from his grasp. "You don't want to go there, Alina," he warned, his voice low and threatening. I would not be intimidated. "I'm already there, Kyle," I retorted, my heart thumping fiercely. "You've hurt enough people, and that's over. I will make sure people know the truth about your cowardice." The laughter had turned into murmurs, people edging closer to the center of the commotion. The gym was buzzing with energy, and I could feel the anticipation almost tangibly crackling in the air around us. Nancy appeared beside me again, her presence a solid base. "Don't let him intimidate you, Alina. You have the truth on your side." "Truth?" Kyle scoffed, though his demeanor was shifting, rattled by the sudden attention. "You think this is about truth? You think anyone cares about whatever lies you are trying to spin?" "Maybe they will," I pushed, "because they will find out. I won't rest until I make sure everyone knows the kind of person you really are." Jenna's voice broke through, hesitant yet filled with uncertainty. "What lies? What happened, Alina?" A chorus of questions followed, students leaning in, curiosity peeking at the drama unfolding. "What did he do?" I took a deep breath, the air electric as all eyes fell on me. Kyle knew everything. He knew I had been struggling with my mental health, and instead of supporting me, he sabotaged me. He spread rumors, twisted my words, and betrayed my trust, using me as a stepping stone to climb higher. "He ruined my reputation just to make himself look good," I said, each word sharper than the last, pushing the truth forward where it could no longer hide in the shadows. Jenna stepped back slightly, her expression shifting from anger to realization. "That is not what I've heard, Kyle." The doubt was unmistakable. A crack formed inside her once solid loyalty to him. I didn't do it. Projecting insecurity can come in many forms." Kyle stumbled over his words, panic mixing with anger in his voice. I watched as the audience started to murmur amongst themselves, the gears of thought turning. It was happening, I could feel it. "Nobody is buying your excuse anymore," I shot back, emboldened. "The truth has a way of bubbling to the surface, Kyle, and it's only a matter of time before everyone finds out just how low you are willing to go." And so it began. A shift in perception, a moment I had long craved, where the scales finally tipped in my favor. Not just for me, but for everyone who had been affected by his facade. My heart raced not with fear, but exhilaration. The crowd was with me, they were starting to see who Kyle truly was. He was no longer the charming star athlete, he was just a coward, stripped bare. In that moment, standing in the gym hall where I had spent so many years invisible, I realized that I was finally taking my stand, not only for myself, but for everyone who had ever felt lesser in his shadow. I was ready to free myself, to free them all.